I've analyzed hundreds of content funnels in my 3 years of posting videos online, and I've used those insights to book over 250 sales calls from content. I'm building an agency helping business owners do the same. And in this video, I won't be showing you tactics or templates for you to copy. No, that would be very boring. Instead, I will show you exactly how to engineer a content funnel from scratch based on your business so it specifically works for you. But before that, let me explain this. This is just some credibility so you know I'm not a LARPer online. I wanted to first understand personality and value and how it all plays together in terms of content. So, what do you think is the biggest factor in determining whether someone buys or not? Is it personality or value? Which is the trump card? Which is the ace card people look for? A lot of people assume it is value, but nobody would buy from an unskilled person who is funny, right? That's what they assume. That's completely wrong. A lot of people would buy it. And that's why you have people who, make money with scam courses, these YouTube automation gurus, because they're just good LARPers. Even though they might not have any value, they still get sales. And this study was done by Nielsen Global Trust in Advertising, wherein they found that customers who are more emotionally connected to the brand are worth more than the satisfied customers. That is, if you have two customers, one who really loves the value you have and one who really likes you, the person who likes you buys more than the person who does not. Does that make sense? So the question to ask yourself is, just so you understand this and you believe what I'm speaking, have you ever bought something from a person you just don't like? Have you ever done that? In most cases, no, you would not have. People buy in two cases. That is, they see that you are in their desirable state, and secondly, you have the competency to take them there. They can visually see that you are in the stage they want to be in, and secondly, they can see that you have the competent skill to help them get to that stage. So when people like you, they will ignore all the things which go against the act of liking you in the first place, because that's how our brain works. Our brains are very biased. That is, if you have a belief system that you really like who I am and you feel like I'm a very good person, you're going to ignore all the other negative things that exist out there just so you can confirm your own belief system. So the decisions we make for building an organic funnel for you specifically will be more biased towards showing who you are as a person as opposed to just providing value, because now you have understood yourself from your own experience that just providing value just does not work anymore. And the way we do that is by first understanding what does your audience truly value. What do they care about? What values do they have? What standards do they have? What do they disagree with? What do they hate? You need to understand that if you're trying to sell to a market, you are trying to essentially create a positioning in which people are attracted towards you. It's like a man, like attracts like. So in that scenario, if you're posting content, it is extremely important you understand the audience's value. If your audience values family and you show videos of you not taking care of your family, that's obviously not going to work. You need to understand exactly what your audience and customers are looking for. What do they value? What do they crave from the inside? Based on your business, you can skip to these timestamps so that you can watch only the relevant stuff. Now, this section is for B2C info offers. Now, if you're here, it's likely that you're in one of these few industries. That is, either you're in fitness, you're in lifestyle or wellness, you're make money online space, or you're in academics. Now, even if you're not, even if you don't fit those categories, that is completely fine. This will still be applicable to you. I just assume that you're going to be fitting in these categories. Now, for us to actually build an entire organic sales funnel for your offer, we need to have clarity and systems for the stages below. That is attention, trust, conversion. If you have to boil down everything about organic content and creating conversions from content, it is these three stages. That is getting attention, generating trust, and getting the conversions. Anything apart from that isn't relevant enough. So the easiest steps are the first and last, and the second step is where most people go wrong. The easiest step in terms of actually creating conversion for your B2C info offer is just these two. There is attention and conversion. These two are the easiest things. You might not believe it, but these are the easiest thing. The hardest thing is generating trust, because people just don't have trust in anybody anymore, especially when selling B2B. So the entire game of getting attention is always showcasing the end result, because in this industry, people want to see genuine, real transformations. Now, the keyword here is real transformations. Now, why did I say real transformations? First of all, in the B2C space, people only care about the end result. They don't care about the process. So even if you have like a B2C info offer for fitness in which you're telling them, I'm going to help have an AI coach for you, people don't give two shits about that. They just don't care. The reason being that the B2C entire atmosphere or the entire environment of B2C is built up on the fact that end transformations is what they value. So when we are in that scenario, it is extremely important to show real transformations and not fake ones. I'm not telling you to, sell Flex a Lambo and LARP Max. I'm not telling you to create LARPing content. What I'm meaning to say is that your content should validate the existing beliefs the audience has and show them the end result which they could potentially reach. So if you have two videos, for example, let's say you're a fitness coach and you're posting a video in which you're flexing in front of the camera and having a B-roll of you, maybe hitting bench or something and giving the viewer 3 tips, it's probably going to get like extremely low views. You've seen videos like these and they just don't perform. Whereas if you have a video, if you're a fitness coach and you have a video in which you're showing the transformation of you from, maybe skinny to jacked or fat to jacked, it's going to attract a huge amount of audience and a huge amount of views. The first one won't perform and will perform like shit is because it's just pure value that people could get those tips from Claude. People can genuinely search up 3 tips for bulking and get those tips from Claude. You are not special in that sense. People are not going to come to you so that, they gain some insane insights. If the video was an aesthetic edit of your old physique and now your current physique, it will 100% get more views. And the reason why is because your audience actually cares about that. They don't care about the 3 tips you're giving. They care about how the value you're giving is associated with the end result that they want to get. And that brings me to the point of understanding the underlying reason. Each person in this world has an underlying reason as to why they do what they do. There is always a reason. There is no person in this world who doesn't do things without a reason. Reasonless behavior doesn't happen. So your job is to tap into that reason, and this will come from talking to your existing clients. This won't come from any amount of market research. This will come from talking to your existing client base and use the Socratic reasoning to get an answer as to why they want what they want. It's a very simple process of asking the question why multiple times until you get to the source of truth. This was method by Socrates, if you know, but this is essentially what you do is you get your clients on a call, you tell them, hey, listen, I want to understand you better so I can make my product better. And then you ask them questions as to exactly why did you want to get jacked? Why did you want to improve your physique? Oh, well, I wanted to improve my physique because I wanted to look good. Okay, why did you want to look good? Okay, I wanted to look good because I wanted girls to look at me. Okay, why do you want girls to look at me? Well, because as a child, I never got any attention. And so I wanted to get, be in a position wherein I get validated by that attention. Boom. Now that is the real reason. That is the underlying reason as to why they want to transform in the first place. Now, imagine you understood that as a reason. Let's say that is a reason for your clients. And you post a video talking about a transformation of you as you were a skinny kid who never got any attention from girls. And then you having pictures with girls being extremely jacked. Do you see how that would be so much more attractive to your ICP and your audience? Because now they can visually see, the end result or the desirable state that they want to be in while you are in that state. They can see you in that state. And then secondly, because you are in that state, they understand that you have the competent skill to actually get them there. That is how you create attention for your brand. So for example, if your audience cares about making money because they don't want their parents to work for them, show what you do for your parents instead of making videos about the business advice. Don't make business advice content like these are the 3 biggest business models to start in 2026. No, show yourself with your parents and your parents reacting to you making money or you taking them on a trip. That will resonate way more with your audience because that's what they care. The first thing is for you to understand why they want what they want. What is the core desire? Now that you know why they want what they want, the next step is to understand where does your audience hang out on. So is it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X? Where do they hang out on? If you're selling B2C, your target audience will most likely hang out on Instagram and YouTube. That's where essentially everybody is. But if they don't, and you understand that they don't, this applies to every single platform out there. We want to leverage short consumption of media for a purpose to generate likability and long form of media for a purpose of trust generation. This is exactly how we do it. So if I take the example of Instagram and YouTube, Instagram is going to be used to help you generate likability for your brand and YouTube for long form trust generation. That's what I'm doing with this video. You're watching this video because I'm here giving you value about something that is relevant to you. And I'm generating a little bit amount of trust in your mind as you're watching this video. So let me explain the difference between these two platforms and why we're doing what we're doing. See, when someone scrolls on Instagram, the algorithm provides them videos, but they never actually choose to watch the reels. When you open up Instagram on your phone, you're not choosing to watch the reels. Like you're not sitting there, you don't have 10 videos or 10 reels suggested and you choose one reel. You're fed the reels and you scroll past the reels you don't like. So when you post a video and it gets a lot of views, you cannot use that as an intent signal that got them attracted. To give you an example, let's say you run a company wherein you sell skateboards for dogs, right? And you want to validate if people actually care about this product. So you make a video or a very funny video for a dog on a skateboard and you get, maybe 100,000 views. You cannot take that as intent because people are not really watching that video because they chose to watch that video. They're watching that video because it was fed to them. They found it funny. That does not mean the product is a viable solution or viable thing that people would buy. if that makes sense. Intention is measured by desire behind the actions. Since viewers on Instagram are passive consumers and not active consumers, your entire goal is to not lead with value but with personality. Because if you just lead with value, you will be ignored because the audience didn't choose to get value. It's like you walking down the street and someone giving you value on how to get the best insurance. You just would not care. You just will think that is, some kind of drunk retard or something. You would not care. Since B2C customers care more about the end results, showcase the end result they would get with your product while attaching your personality with it. Attach your personality to it, show them the value that would get them to the end result, but don't lead with value. Let's take the example of fitness, right? If the end result that your audience wants is to look bigger, lean into your transformation and add your personality through on-screen text or the way you make the video or the things that you do. If your audience cares about being more athletic and functional, lean more into that. Show your athleticism, you show your functionality. Not just don't just give value to people and expecting them to actually care, because that's not how it works. The entire goal is to get people to like you by watching your reels. That's the entire point of Instagram. Now, what role does YouTube play? As we talked about it before, it's trust generation. Now, YouTube is a bit interesting since you can understand intent from YouTube, if you know what I mean. So every time your ICP opens YouTube, they're shown about 9 videos. That's how much videos are, fitting on your home screen. If they choose to watch your video, that means there was intent behind their actions. They chose because it was interesting and relevant to them. This means that the video resonated well with the audience. So YouTube can give you a lot more insights as to what does the market even want. If, for example, let's say you're a fitness coach and you're trying to understand, is the market wanting more of, an aesthetic build or they want a more functional build, and you post a YouTube video of the same thing for these two topics and one gets the more amount of views than the other, that means the one that got the most views is what is reflecting the market's desires. If you do the same thing on Instagram, it's not the same because there is no intention. There is no intent behind it. When people click on YouTube, when they're watching a video on YouTube, there is intention behind their action. They're intently clicking on the video. They're choosing to click. Out of 8 videos, they're choosing to click yours. So the goal of YouTube is to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be with personality and value. That means when they watch your videos on YouTube, they will be given value on getting to the end result, plus a little peek on how you operate and how you function. So it's like you lead with value on YouTube and add personality as like the sprinkles on top. And on Instagram, it's the opposite thing. That is how you create differentiation. That is how you create real influence for your brand. Instagram is where they get to know you. YouTube is where they learn how to get to where you are. I've created lots of videos on how to engineer these videos. You can go and see that on my channel later on. I've got many videos about how to create these videos specifically. I won't be getting into that. So what we have covered right now is the IG and YouTube funnel and how it looks like, and the reason and the way we are actually going to post videos. Now what we want to cover is how to actually convert the audience. Now we can do this with the help of 2 funnels, and you need to decide what to pick for your own niche. A low ticket funnel, this is where you target a very less sophisticated audience or an audience which doesn't have a lot of money. It's the first step. The second thing is where you target the audience which has a decent amount of money and who are more sophisticated. That is a VSL funnel. Now, both of these funnels work, but you need to understand the economics of it. Now, the entire point of low ticket funnel is to self-liquidate your CAC, right? We want to minimize CAC spend per customer, and we want to do so by creating a self-liquidating funnel. Now, since we're selling organically, you can reduce this CAC very drastically. Now, let me show you exactly like a very simple analogy of how this works. Let's say you've got a lead and it costs you $10 to convert them into a customer. So your CAC is 10. So we build a low ticket liquidating funnel where the low ticket product costs $10. So that as such, your cost of acquiring the customer is 0. Right? And if you have a proper ascension path, the only bottleneck you would be getting is getting people to buy your low ticket offer, getting people to buy the $10 low ticket offer. This is where the magic of organic content comes into play. Because usually when people run low ticket self-liquidating funnels, they run ads to this low ticket offer so they can liquidate their CAC. But at some point you are spending money and there is some level of economics in it wherein you will not have 0% CAC or a $0 CAC. It's not possible. But we don't do that. We send every bit of organic content to this low ticket product, because since we're posting organically, we as such have no money spent apart from the production of the video or something that directly leads to us getting that lead, if that makes sense. This is probably the best offer for a niche where they don't have a lot of money or have high skepticism. So students, teenagers, older adults, if you're targeting such audiences, it is better to have a low ticket funnel or a low ticket self-liquidating funnel. Now the VSL is probably the best all-rounder funnel you can ever run. I'm a VSL fan. I love VSLs. The entire point of a VSL is to showcase the audience, how your offer works and how you can get them the results. This could in itself be an entire video, by the way. So I won't go super in depth here specifically, but super generically, your VSL funnel should have the landing page copy should be optimized to get people to watch the VSL and not to actually book in a call. highly optimized VSL to actually get people to then book in a call and proof and assets in place. This is my VSL, by the way, a shameless plug, but you can click the first link in the description if you want to see the VSL and what I actually do for my business and for my clients. Now, if you run a B2B info offer, the game of B2B is very similar to B2C, by the way, but the only difference is how you approach it. There are certain nuances which are very different. And the first thing, whenever you want to build any organic sales funnel for B2B info offers, is to figure out the core main desires. Since every single person has desires, wants, and needs which really dictate their behaviors. And considering business owners who are extremely weird, by the way, I'm very weird, just like everybody else, it's very important to understand the core driver behind your audience. So, for example, I know you do things because there is a deep craving of validation inside of you. I know you want that. I know you have this deep desire to feel validated, to have fame, to have people look up to you, which is why you end up doing what you're doing, which is why you're interested in building a brand or something, because at the core of it, you want to feel that level of validation for yourself. Similarly, you need to have an in-depth explanation of the main driver of behavior for your audience. Use this Socratic reasoning. Why do they do what they do? Why are they doing what they're doing? So you're able to get to the bottom of it as to exactly this is what dictates their behavior. And the reason why you want to know this is because you want to tie in this entire reason in our messaging. Because the main thing your audience will buy is not the end result, but the end metric of the business, if that makes sense. We're selling B2B, very, very straightforward. They are not going to care about the end result. They won't. They don't care. They care about the end result metric, which will help them get the desire. So let me explain how that works. If you try and sell a B2B offer, right? You're trying to sell business coaching and you say that, oh, after working with me, you'll have the freedom that you want in your life. You won't get the highest caliber of clients because the highest caliber of clients are not thinking in terms of freedom. They're thinking in terms of metrics. Okay, I can get to maybe $250,000 a month, which then helps me unlock freedom. The second part is freedom. The main thing that they're wanting to buy is the metric, the business result, not the end desire, freedom, or money or financial freedom that they're craving. I know you obsess over lead generation, which is why you're watching this video. I know you constantly think about getting leads, getting calls booked. That's why you're watching this video in the first place. The same way, understand what business metric is your audience craving. What do they want? What do they desire? Because once you understand what they want, then we can actually start creating the content required for it in the first place. Like I explained previously, when someone scrolls on Instagram, the algorithm provides them videos. They never actually choose to watch the reels. So again, on Instagram, when you're scrolling on Instagram, you're not choosing, you're not given 9 reels and, told, you don't choose a reel to watch. You're fed the reels. And your intention is based on how those first 3 seconds feel. You could have an extremely valuable video with the last first 3 seconds and it would perform like shit. Does that mean that the value you provided was not really needed by the market? That's not the case because, again, Instagram rewards scrolling and not intention. Intentional clicks do not exist on Instagram. Since intention is measured by desire behind the actions. Now, viewers on Instagram are passive consumers, so your entire goal is to not lead with value, but with personality. Lead with personality. Lead with not with value, not shove them down with value. Because imagine this. Imagine you walking down the street and someone is telling you, yo, this is the best way to get insurance. Are you going to care? You're going to think that's some drunk retard or something, right? That's what you're going to think. You're not going to care. It's the same thing. Since B2B customers care more about the metric and the process of how you get that, you need to showcase that in your content along with your personality so that they have the deep desire to work with you. This makes sure that the content you put out matches the emotional state of the audience. Taking the example of a growth operator. Let's say you're a growth operator, you help creators launch info products. If they talked and showed a Lambo, showing that this is what life could be like for you if you, help us run your market, if you help us launch an info product for you, it will only attract broke people. Clearly. But instead, you showed a little bit of your personality and they can visually see your entire system of how you actually create the info product, how you manage clients, how they can make, how you can make them a lot of money. That will attract a more sophisticated audience, that is buyers. Now, I want you to see the comparison below. I posted 2 videos about the same topic. One was how to come up with top of funnel, middle of funnel ideas to attract buyers, right? A very value-based video. And the other was a system, just me literally yapping through a system. This one got 6,000 views. This one got 800 views. The first video got me a shit ton of qualified ICP follows, even though both of these were pretty much the same topic. This is what is a direct reflection of the B2B audience. This is the entire thing. This is literally proof. A video about me talking through a system performed more, attracted more ICP than a video about me just deep throating value to them. That's not, it doesn't work anymore. Just trust me. So now we come to YouTube. And again, as I explained before, YouTube is a bit interesting since you can understand intent from YouTube. So every time your ICP opens YouTube, they're fed, they're shown 9 videos and they choose to click one video. There is intention behind their actions. That means the video resonated well with the audience because they're judging the video not on the hook, but on the topic itself. And that is a direct representation of intention or what the market is actually wanting. For example, if you are, let's say, a business coach who helps design agencies scale, and you make two videos, let's say you want to test what the market actually wants. You test a video about exactly how to get more clients for a design agency, and secondly, you make a video about fulfillment, about how to fulfill designing clients. The video which gets the most amount of views is going to be the video which reflects the market's decisions, the market's desires, because there is intention. There is intention behind clicking the video in the first place. They're choosing to click. That means the reason why they're choosing to click is because the topic was interesting to them, which is a direct reflection of the desire, if that makes sense. So YouTube can give a lot of insights as to exactly what does the market even want. And the goal of YouTube for us is to give an in-depth explanation of the process you have, the expertise you hold, and most importantly, speaking to them as a friend. If you do this, your audience will convert. Hopefully, while watching this video, you don't feel like I'm treating you like a student or like some stupid person or something. Hopefully, you feel like I treat you like a friend. Hopefully I've done a good enough job. If you treat your viewer like a friend and you explain to them the process and you show your expertise and you give them value where it is relevant and show them how it is going to be beneficial for them, that's when they are going to convert, because that is what they actually care about in the first place. I hope you understand this. Most B2B buyers don't need more information from you. What they need is clarity and a mindset shift. They need to look at the problem differently and understand your expertise and perspective around it for it to work. Creating value dump videos won't work anymore. I've created multiple in-depth videos on how to do this. You can go and check it out later on my channel afterwards. But just creating value dump videos wherein you have my robot and you're just speaking like, okay, this is blah, 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 that's not going to work. That doesn't work anymore. Forget about it. Show them a different perspective around the problem. Show them your expertise around that. Show them your perspectives around that. Help them adopt that belief system, so that then they actually end up liking you more. And how do you actually convert this attention in the first place? We leverage the VSL funnel for B2B offers specifically. It's the best because your audience needs proof and clarity on what your offer actually is. This does the job every single time. The entire point of a VSL is to showcase to the audience how your offer works and how you can get them results. Now, I can create an entire video again on this completely. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. But in general, the entire point of the landing page copy of the VSL is to get people to watch the VSL and not book in a call. A lot of people make this mistake wherein they create a landing page copy and they write so much copy, and their intention behind that is to convince them to book in a call. That's not the point. The point is for them to book in a call after they watch the VSL. This is my VSL, by the way. You can click the first link in the description to actually see this so you understand better what I do. This is how you create a content funnel for your specific business. If you want me to create more in-depth videos about specific topics, let me know in the comments. I'll make those videos. I don't really care. I can give you value for free. If you want my help in installing an organic sales funnel for your business and sales system for your business, click the first link in the description. It's a VSL. Watch the VSL. Have fun. Book in a call. I don't really care. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace.